I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Cumberland School Committee on Thursday, January 27th, 2022 at 7:02 p.m. In accordance with Governor McKee's Executive Order 22-01 dated January 6, 2022, the Cumberland School Committee intends to conduct this meeting remotely. The public can participate in this meeting remotely, but not in person, by calling 1-646-558-8656, webinar ID 963-7352-1820, or they can join via Zoom. And the link is on the cumberlandschools.org website. The next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty
and justice
for all. The next item on the agenda is approval of agenda. In compliance with Governor's Executive Order 22-01 dated January 6, 2022, discussion on whether there is public access to the meeting through adequate alternative means. And I think I can see that we have members of the public.
Yes, we do.
On the Zoom. Thank you, Mr. Chandler. So I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Rogalski.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Feather and Mr. Fiorello. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it 7-0. The next item on the agenda is the student government report. Dr. Thornton.
Yeah, I believe Mr. Chandler has members to let in. Mr. Chandler, are they present?
They are. They're coming in now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Rose.
And I'm Grace, and we're here on behalf of CHS Student Government. It's great to be back in school after break, and we're excited to update you on the past, present, and future work.
One of the events we had before break was our Adopt a Family program, which donated gifts to local families who could not afford them. Overall, we were able to help 3 families and 12 children in total. We wrapped presents that included both their wants and needs. We were able to involve all of student government to accomplish all of this in such a short time. In addition, we worked with the Happy Basket program to fill up the senior center at the monastery with food and gifts. Both of the events were very successful, and we were glad to take part in it.
Here at Cumberland High School, we have excellent staff that go the extra mile, but are not always recognized for their hard work. So, student government implemented the CAPE program, where we vote on an outstanding teacher of the week to wear and sign a superhero cape. The week 1 winner was Mr. Estrada, and the week 2 winner was Mr. Cardozo. This positive reinforcement creates a fun yet competitive atmosphere for the staff in the school. Looking into the future, in the upcoming weeks, we will be kicking off the annual Pennies for Patients fundraiser. This fundraiser supports children suffering from blood cancers such as lymphoma and leukemia.
It is always such a great success here at Cumberland High School due to the competition amongst the different departments in the school. With all of that being said, that concludes the latest update from the CHS student government. We are eager to get to work to better both our school and community in the upcoming weeks. Thank you for your time and have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Grace and Rose. And I saw Mr. Curran on here too as the advisor. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes from the regular meeting January 13th, 2022, and approval of minutes from the executive session January 13th, 2022. I need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Rogalski,
Second.
second by Mr. Fiorello. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it 7-0. The next item on the agenda is personnel announcements. Mrs. Duncanson.
Sorry about that. I have a few items tonight. Good evening. First, there's one appointment effective January 24th, 2022. Megan Ramirez, Math Essentials at North Cumberland Middle School, 1 year only. I have a coaching appointment of Silas Copeland, indoor track and field. Boys and Girls Assistant, effective January 5th, 2022. I have to sadly announce the retirement of Kathleen Mardo after 34 years of service for the district, effective June 30th, 2022. She's a special educator at community school. I congratulate her on her retirement and thank her for her service. There are 3 resignations tonight. First, Elise Hickey, effective February 11th, 2022, high school English. Jenna Lapan, February 8th, 2022, paraprofessional at McCourt. And Jacqueline Xavier, effective January 5th, 2022, indoor track and field boys and girls assistant coach. And finally, 2 leave of absences, effective January 3rd, 2022 through the end of the year, Vicky DiGielli, paraprofessional at Cumberland High School, and effective February 1st, 2022 through the end of the year is Pamela Iden, paraprofessional at Cumberland High School. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Duncanson. Next item on the agenda is report out of executive session meeting on January 27th, 2022. Report out of executive session votes. We did not take any votes in the executive session this evening. And the next item is vote to seal minutes of the executive session. I need a motion to seal the minutes.
Motion to seal.
Motion by Mrs. Rogalski,
Second.
second by Mrs. Feather. All in favor?
Miss
Aye.
Smith. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, 7-0. Did I say the wrong second? I could have sworn I saw Mrs. Feather's lips move. Okay.
We said it at the same time, but Mrs. Smith got it.
All right, thank you. That passes. The next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Thornton.
Madam Chair, good evening. First, as you recall, last meeting, I read an email from John Johnson from the Happy Baskets program, but tonight we actually have John here with us. So I'd like to turn it over to John to say a few words. Mr. Johnson.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay. I just wanted to recognize all the schools in town. I'm not sure why my picture's not up there, but just recognize all the schools in town for the great work they do for Happy Baskets. And they do that pretty much on their own. There I am. It's not that, you know, they volunteer to do this, and they do an incredible job. And over the last 2 years with COVID and everything else that's going on, I was thinking that we were going to be really hurting for food because it was going to be tougher for people to afford to give and also to find the food. And it was the exact opposite, is that every school in town was above and beyond what they had done before as far as donating food and or toys to the program. And although I don't want to mention anybody in particular because I forget I would miss out on somebody, Dan Curran and the student government at Cumberland High School, it's just exceptional with what they did and what they continue to do. It's one of the high points of the year for me when they drive up on the Thanksgiving giveaway day with a truckload of food and turkeys and gift cards and money, and it's and smiling faces and donuts. So it's a wonderful thing to be involved with all the schools, all the principals, just an exceptional group of folks.
Thank you very much. We truly appreciate you coming out tonight.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnson.
So, Madam Chair, I have 2 items tonight on my report. First, the standing item of COVID update. As you see in your packets, per the usual, we have the report by month. Now, the January numbers, just simply stated, if you look at December to January for a number of cases, new cases for students, we go from 209 to 613. For staff cases in December, 21 to 61 this month. Obviously, we're triple, right? No surprise in January in Omicron, we are up. Those are the numbers for that sheet. But I have some more numbers for you. In terms of where we are staff-wise, you may recall back around January 6th, I said that was our high water mark. We're around 115 absences. We're now down in the low 60s. That's like a high normal, if you will. A few more numbers for you. In November, on the 13th in 2018, we had 47 absent. Give you a little sense. January 10th, 2019, 62, kind of like now. And the 31st, 58 in 2019. So while our numbers are coming down to a high normal, I would say, that's encouraging, but we still, have a lot of cases. As you know, February 4th is coming up. That's our next line where the governor, his order will end and he'll either extend or make it a local decision. For me, I think, in terms of the policy, as you know, if the 4th is on, I believe, a Friday, it'd be my decision on the Monday until the next meeting of the committee, which is on the 17th of February. To me, I really go back just to the numbers. As you recall, we have on the state website the metrics for high transmission, substantial, moderate. If you think back to your scale, right? Remember, over 100 is high transmission. Right now in Cumberland, we're at 1,619. So we're 16 times over high transmission. But having said that, these numbers come down pretty quickly. It's like a force multiplier kind of situation. So while it sounds daunting, overwhelming, as the staff numbers have come down, I am optimistic this will come down as well. I know everyone asks, so what's the magic number when people may want to say, if it's a local decision, when would I, the superintendent, recommend to you something different than right now? I'll have I'm talking to people, I'm talking to both union presidents, getting their input. To me, it would have to be in that moderate area, under 50, to have me kind of think about this. That's kind of where I am. I mean, I certainly want to engage people in the conversation, but right now we are 16 times over. So that's where it is today. But I think it could drop pretty quickly. So we have to watch that. So really, it truly is, I think, a wait and see on the mask piece. So that's the COVID update. Anything before I go on to construction?
Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Dr. Thorne, for addressing the masking debate. As you remember, we were having this debate going into the school year until this Delta Omicron monster kind of attacked us. So if you look at the trends around the world, things are plummeting, and I'm optimistic that will continue to go down. And I appreciate you giving us your number. So if the governor, if the governor extends his mask mandate on February 4th, it's kind of a moot point. But we have started receiving correspondence about this, and this issue is still burning with a lot of families. And I would just hope that regardless of what happens, if we can get on the agenda for if the governor does not extend the mask mandate, it's my hope that we can get it on the agenda for February 17th, one way or another, because I said it once, I'll say it again, masking is not normal. It has been a preventative measure. People can debate whether it's been effective or not, but it's not normal. And we can't go on masking until the virus is eradicated from the earth, because it's never going to be eradicated from the earth. The Black Plague is still pops up occasionally, if you can believe that. And it's been 800 years since that first surfaced. So I think we have to start thinking towards the future. I'm optimistic the numbers will go down. Obviously, nobody knows what the future holds, but I think we really should reignite this discussion. And it's my hope that before the end of the school year, these kids can shed the masks, or if parents choose to mask their children, they can obviously maintain that. But I just don't want people forgetting that, masking is not a normal thing for anybody. So I've said my 2 cents, and I appreciate you raising it before I did.
In terms of timing, typically in the past few iterations, the governor has re-upped his orders, usually Friday afternoon. Really can't react at that point, but certainly it would be on your agenda for the one meeting in February, either way.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox raise ticket prices on a Friday too for the same reason. So you can have 48 hours, 72 hours to cool down. So sometimes schools actually send out report cards on the weekend as well. So for the same reasons, but I do appreciate it. I mean, just so I just don't want us forgetting about it,
Mhm.
because we've just kind of gotten caught up in this rut again. It's winter time, but the weather's going to be getting warmer and spring will be here. And I'd rather not be having this discussion much longer.
Understood. My second item, if no other COVID questions, is construction. We had a meeting Monday night of the building committee. We approved the Garvin plan, the next steps for Garvin to go back to Rhode for the next iteration of the planning piece. And we're also finalizing the timeline for the construction over at Cumberland Hill. And by that, I mean, the scope of the work has finally been given to our construction folks. All the things we want done, you approved last time. Now they backwards map and figure out all the man hours to get all that work done, leaving us enough time to move all of our people, right? Get all the furniture in there, everything ready. So we should have a timeline from them next Thursday, we were told. And then I come to you all for the conversation on the school calendar, discussion only in February. And part of that conversation is around construction, right? So I'll give you a hint. One of my calendars, I'll give you options. One of my options is after Labor Day, September 5th, because it gives us more time for school construction. So that extra week might be needed. So that's one of my options I'm giving you. So stay tuned for that piece. The other piece, if Mike Chandler could share the screen, we have something that Mr. Collins had asked for last meeting. I wanted to let you know it's now on our website. So we have Mike's screen coming up on our homepage. Mike will navigate school construction projects, budget and costs, kind of like what you see at the state with the bridges, on time, on budget, that kind of thing. So if you scroll down, Mike, to Cumberland Hill, give you a sense of that project. Originally, you can see total project, 12.6 million. The hard costs, right? The actual, the metal, the sheetrock, 9,004. Paid to date, you see that number. Soft costs, that's the architects, that kind of thing, 1.4 million. And then our balance at the bottom, around 800,000. So we'll keep updating these change all the time, but we wanted to give the public a sense for, what we're doing, each project. They're all here. Some of them are a couple of years away, so nothing really will move on that, but Cumberland Hill should move pretty quickly. And next year you'll see Ashton moving, Garvin, and Community. So we'll keep updating you, and people can refer to this to see, what's happening. And our goal is, when Cumberland Hill gets closed out, if we are still under budget, we can roll those funds to the next job, right, to help. So that's part of the goal, to stay, efficient, and then get those funds to other buildings as well. So that's the idea. I know, Mr. Collins, you had asked for that, so we wanted to show you that, and that's our first iteration of that.
I'm sorry,
Happy to
Dr. Clit. Will that be
No.
available? That's available on the website as well, too. That was my original, so people can click on it.
Yeah, Mike just showed you the website. That was it.
Okay,
It was
that
on
is from the website. Okay.
On the right,
Okay.
second one down, and you'll see it there. Click on it, and that is on the website.
Excellent. Thank you.
He's going back, I think. Mike, one more time. Second,
Okay.
so there it is. School construction project, budget and costs under quick links, number 2. And there it is. So we'll keep updating it, but that's our first iteration. So you can see that there. So that's all I have, Madam Chair, for tonight.
I do have one question, Dr. Thornton, about the calendar. Do you have any sense of whether RIDE is still going to go the way of having a statewide calendar? Because that only came into effect in the COVID year.
I asked that exact question to folks I talked to last week, and we were told they're maybe working on something. My superintendents I talked to aren't waiting around for that. So we are all planning. Certainly, if we get their version, I'll give it to you as an option. So you'll see that as well. But right now, nothing from RIDE on the calendar.
Yeah, and I think typically in the past 2 years, it has come after we have had our own discussions and have had our own vote on the calendar, and then have had to revert to something else. But
yep.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Dr. Thornton? Okay, thank you for that. The next item on the agenda is reports of standing committees. First one is fiscal management subcommittee update. Mr. Collins.
The fiscal management subcommittee met this evening. We had no payment of the bills, and we have 4 resolutions we'll be presenting to the full committee in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is policy and procedure subcommittee update. Mr. Fiorella.
Yes, unfortunately, policy was not able to meet this week. We will be meeting on the Tuesday before our Thursday, February meeting, because we only have one meeting that month.
Okay, thank you. The next item is Achievement and Communication Subcommittee update. We did meet this week with one primary agenda item to better understand how the ESSER 2 and 3 funds are being allocated. And so Mr. Devana gave us a detailed presentation on that. 60% of those ESSER funds are in positions, salaries, and benefits. And so there are a number of positions that are targeted to help close our achievement gap, to target some of our subgroups, like multilingual learners. And, you know, part of the discussion was, we're going to add these positions. Some may last 1 year, some may last 2 years, some may last 3 years. When the funds run out, what do we do after that? And how do we start planning and preparing for being able to maintain what we put in place? So that directly goes into the bigger budget conversation. And so Dr. Thornton, you know, his kind of mantra as we go into the budget season is, if we can add 3 positions to the budget in this coming year, and also a focus on technology, those things are going to position us to start planning to maintain what we put in place using the ESSER funds. So there's the positions that we're looking at, and then also the ESSER funds going towards interactive boards for 300 of our classrooms, you know, 21st century classrooms, and moving to a one-to-one, meaning every student gets their own laptop. So we'll use some of that money to get grades 3, 4, and 5 to all have their own Chromebooks. And then with more planning later in the budget for K through 2. So, and then there's, you heard us talk before about some of the state requirements around changing curriculum, updating curriculum. So we're looking at using a portion of the ESSER funds to help with the payment of the curriculum that's needed. So, you know, that was to get us all kind of grounded in what's happening. And then we have a joint meeting with the town council on February 8th, a joint budget meeting where we can, you know, present what we're looking at and what we're considering as we go into the next budget year, and for them to ask questions. And that is an open meeting on February 8th. And depending on what happens with the governor's executive order on February 4th, it could be in Zoom, could be virtual, or it may be in person, but TBD on that one. All right, the next,
Madam Chair,
yeah.
can I just add just the part, you know, one of the things that I've been kind of pressing for, you know, as long as I've been on the committee is, you know, we spend a lot of time talking about data-driven decisions and everything, and, you know, as it pertains really to RIDECast, but Mr. Demana has really taken my request, really run through with Ms. Kucinich in position at the high school now. They're also starting to take a look at AP scores in high school achievement, and they did a very thorough assessment. And they're going to continue to look at what can be done to rise the AP scores. And the other piece that they raised was the issue of cultural proficiency in curriculum. That's obviously not a data-driven thing because it's less, it's more of a subjective thing. But that is also something that they are taking a look at and going to, you know, consider different options when it comes to training staff and maybe taking a look at a curriculum to meet some more modern standards. So I really appreciate the turnaround on, you know, any sort of requests that I've had from them. Very, very thorough and very specific. So I think they're really, I thought Tuesday's meeting was very, very helpful. So thank you to Mr. Demana and his team.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the District Health and Wellness Subcommittee update. Mrs. Rogalski.
District Health and Wellness will meet February 8th.
All right, thank you. And the next item on the agenda is comments from the public. If anyone from the public would like to make a comment, you can raise your virtual hand and Mr. Chandler will let you in.
I don't see anybody yet with their hand raised. Give them another second. Nothing at this time.
All right, thank you. Next on the agenda is new business. Item A, Sodexo Food Services Freight Farm Planning 2022-2023. And I believe Ms. Spillane is with us tonight.
Yes, I am. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. So I'm here tonight to speak about the current and future status of our freight farm, the large green container in the back of our parking lot at CHS. Some of you might drive by it every day. As you remember, the district invested in the hydroponic technology in the 2017-2018 year. We partnered with Freight Farms, a company that takes recycled shipping containers and transforms them into vertical grow houses. The container at full capacity has the ability to produce a football-sized crop of baby greens, including romaine, green leaf lettuce, kale, and basil. Usually the crops take about 6 to 8 weeks from seed to harvest, and we integrate them into our high school menu in salads, wraps, and different entrees. Unfortunately, since the onset of 2020 with the pandemic, we actually had to shut down. We winterized the container, obviously took all of the crops out and basically put it at a standstill. This was due to COVID virus being highly transmittable. We could not risk the exposure to the hydroponic system and our crops. So unfortunately, we just kind of had to go back to square one with planning for the 2022-23 school year. And due to the daily and weekly maintenance of our crops, we plan to restart at that time. But there has to be a few items that we have to have clearance on to move forward. First, we need to identify any new safety regulations for the container farming or the personnel, and we'll do that with the help of the experts from the Department of Health. As you can imagine, we have a specific sanitation procedures and specialized cleaners for the plants that may or may not meet the Department of Health regulations when it comes to the new normal of COVID precautions. So we are going to get some guidance about that. We also need some clearance from the state on their expectations of personnel working inside the container. Obviously, a lot has changed in the last year, and we're hopeful to get some clearance. Second, and most importantly, the expectation of our students' involvement needs to be readdressed with administration and some student groups. From the beginning of our hydroponic journey, we envisioned that the creation of this learning pathway or student group was going to take 80% of the responsibility of the farm. Food service was never intended to solely staff and harvest the plants or the crops. So we do need a solid plan for moving forward to support the farm for opening to be very successful. Hopefully we can have all this accomplished over the meantime of the rest of the year and throughout the summer. Obviously we plan to start up 4 to 6 weeks before so we can have crops growing in September to menu for our students. Any questions anyone has that I can help answer?
Yes, Mrs. Spillane, will there be an upfront cost to restart everything?
You know, we left off with a lot of material by ways of nutrients, seeds, things like that, but minimal. I think that we put it at a $200 a month type of, budget, but I'll have to readdress that with the cost of shipping and, just general speaking, I'm sure items have gone up since we've purchased them. But nothing significant. Other questions?
Yeah, I think I have a question. It might be more for Dr. Thornton, Mrs. Spillane, which is about, I remember having that conversation in 2017 or whatever it was about whether there was any viability of incorporating this into a pathway or some other, student work at the high school. And I'm not certain that we right now have a pathway that would be aligned to this. or?
Yeah. I don't believe right now we do, but we're always looking to expand. And as you know, I mentioned, I think, an achievement subcommittee. Once we do have a permanent preschool on the first floor of the trans building, the second floor then becomes the high schools again, which could be some classroom space, but also some career and tech expansion space. So this could be something we could definitely look at.
Any other questions or comments for Mrs. Blaine? Okay, all right. Thank you, Shauna.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is discussion and or vote to approve authorization to administer the 2022 Rhode Island Student Survey.
Madam Chair, this is a annual item the school committee gets. You need your approval, my approval. It's the RI student survey, which typically covers student behaviors around substances, social media use, general health. Schools around the state give this on a yearly basis, approved by Rhode and Rhode. We typically tell your parents their survey is coming. Should someone want to opt out, they can always do that. But this is a pretty routine item for schools in Rhode Island.
And we've been doing this for quite a few years, right, Dr. Thorne?
Well, I can't speak for the last couple of years in Cumberland, but wherever I've been, we've done it. It's and I know, like I said, some questions may seem intrusive to some, and that's why parents have the right to have their child not take it. But it's a pretty standard survey. A lot of info comes out of that for our students, so we can see what really is on the minds of our middle and high school students. But essentially, we do need to get a vote from the committee, as well as my approval to have that happen in Cumberland.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the survey.
Okay, Mr. Fiorello makes a motion to approve the survey. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
With discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry, second discussion.
Okay, Ms. Smith, second for discussion.
Yes, thank you. My question's relating to how we address it, because we tend to hear every year from parents saying, I don't want my child to do this. I find it too invasive. Is there another way to approach this so that the parents really have an understanding? I feel that oftentimes the information's not being brought home to the families, or we're not getting enough information out about it. And
Right.
It's unfortunate that it's always an opt-out versus an opt-in.
Right.
It just seems to me that an opt-in would be a better way to approach it, so that we're taking into consideration the family concerns as well.
Right. I guess, well, to your first point, it's not like a backpack kind of mailer. It's an email each school sends to let them know the survey is coming up. So that's how we do that. We can do more of that on the website, certainly, and promote that. I have to check with Rhode or Rhode as far as their protocol. I'm not sure. I think the protocol is basically it's something that's given to the school, kind of like a test, like NAEP or like a STAR assessment, if you will. I'm not sure I can change the protocol and have an opt-in, but I know we can certainly have folks choose not to. I don't know off the top of my head what percent of folks don't have their kids take it in any given year. I would think it's probably a small number, but we just want to have folks have that option if they don't want to take part. But to your first point, we can certainly do a better job advertising, both through not just one email, possibly 2 or 3 follow-up emails before we have the survey, and also on the website.
That would be good if we could at least really over publish the information. It's just, we're just hearing from so many parents over the past few years. There's just been too much for these students to handle, for the families to handle. There's been so many changes. I just find looking at this survey this year, it's like, let's just move on and not worry about that. We have other things to be concerned with and we should address. And I don't want to see families getting frustrated over this.
When would the survey be administered?
I don't have the exact date on this handout, Madam Chair. It's a 35-minute survey we give during one class period, if you will. But I have to now call the phone. If you approve it, I'd have to do that next step, I think, and call the number I have on this this memo to kind of coordinate that. That's my understanding.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve and a second for discussion. Any other discussion or comments? Okay, then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ms. Smith, I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry, aye. To the,
Okay, all right,
not
thank you. Sorry, I just,
to oppose, in favor.
yes, okay. Opposed? All right, then it passes 7-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is discussion and a vote to approve homeschool instruction request for the 2021-2022 school year.
Madam Chair, I would motion to approve the homeschool request.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve,
Second.
Second.
second by Mrs. Rogalski and Mr. Fiorello. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, I think Mrs. Feather, you're abstaining? Yes, okay. All right, so that passes 6-0. The next item on the agenda is discussion and a vote to approve resolutions. Our favorite part, Mr. Collins.
Your favorite part. But I have 4 resolutions this evening, all of which passed fiscal subcommittee. We'll start with SCPR-01-2022-09, a resolution empowering the Cumberland School Committee to approve a payment to H.V. Collins of Providence, Rhode Island for the December 2021 invoice, payment number 6, for the Cumberland High School swing space in an amount not to exceed $142,217. This passed subcommittee 3-0, and I would move passage.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve SCPR 01-2022-09. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0.
Next is SCPR-01-2022-10, a resolution empowering the Cumberland School Committee to approve payment to H.V. Collins of Providence, Rhode Island for the December 2021 invoice, payment number 5, for the JJM Cumberland Hill Elementary School in an amount not to exceed $318,534. This is coming out of the bond. It passed subcommittee 3-0, and I would move passage.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve SCPR 01-2022-10. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Rogalski and Mr. DeMonica. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it 7-0.
Next is SCPR-01-2022-11, a resolution empowering the Cumberland School Committee to approve payment to Fundraiser Engineering and Testing of Natick, Mass. For work performed from September 30th through November 30th in an amount of $7,860.56. This has been approved by Colliers. It's coming out of the bond. This passed fiscal subcommittee 3-0 with the addendum that invoices, there was an invoice missing from the original packet. As long as we can get that attached, this was approved by fiscal subcommittee, and I would move passage with the amendment to the full committee.
Okay, so Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve SCPR 01-2022-11 with an amendment to include the additional invoice. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. DeMonica and Mrs. Feather. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it 7-0.
And finally, SCPI-01-2022-12, a resolution empowering the Cumberland School Committee to approve payment to Colliers International of Providence, Rhode Island for owner's representation services for the month of December 2021 in an amount not to exceed $41,139.90. Colliers has approved owner's representation services on both high school swing space and Cumberland Hill projects. This is coming out of the bond. This passed fiscal subcommittee 3-0. There was one question of one minor $23.68 charge, 63-cent charge, which has since been resolved by Mr. Brignano. It did pass subcommittee 3-0, and I would move passage to the full committee.
Mr. Collins makes a motion to approve SCPR 01-2022-12. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. DeMonica. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Collins. And the next item on the agenda is discussion and a vote to approve payment of bills. I believe we don't have any payment of bills.
We do not have any bills.
All right.
Well, we have bills, but nothing for the committee. So next time.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is school committee comments, school liaison reports. Any comments from school committee members? Mr. Fiorella.
I would just like to note that, yes, we are entering budget season, although it just feels like we finished it. And I'm hoping that this budget will look for ways to increase some buses to better serve our students and families. That's all.
Any other comments from the school committee? Mr. Collins?
Back in September, I celebrated my anniversary with this very committee. This evening, I'm celebrating my wife's birthday with this full committee. So that's it. I just want to.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
You have a very
Happy birthday,
tolerant
Mary.
wife.
Yeah, you have no idea, Miss Feather. You have no idea. So, but thank you. So
Okay.
happy birthday, hon.
All right, and I just want to, again, remind people that we have the February 8th joint budget meeting with the town council and the school committee, and that is an open meeting. So members of the public certainly can attend.
Madam Chair, what is the time of that meeting?
We haven't set the time yet. I think it will be 6 p.m., but I'll follow up with Mr. Kinch on that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is vote to go into executive session. I don't believe we have that, Dr. Thornton.
All set, Madam Chair.
Okay, then I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'm going to take Mr. DeMonica on that. Mr. DeMonica makes a motion to adjourn. Second
Second.
by Mrs. Rogalski and Mrs. Feather. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The ayes pass 7-0. We are adjourned at 7:44 p.m. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.